The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Portland, Oregon, on your new fire apparatus, job number 33855. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start just under the front bumper. Under the front bumper is where you'll find 2 tow hooks. Moving up onto the bumper face, you'll find on the passenger side your electronic siren and PA speaker system. Moving just inside of that location, passenger and driver side, you'll find dual air horns. Moving up onto the face of the bumper, you'll also find 2 additional tow hooks. Located just on the extension of the front bumper, you'll find your bell. And directly in the center, you'll find your mechanical siren. Let's move up onto the cab. First, starting on the passenger and driver side, just below the headlight structures, where you'll find a turn indicator. Moving up from that location onto the outer edge, you'll find a clearance light, turn marker light. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find your headlight structure housing the low and high beam headlights. The high beam headlight will be located on the inner side. Moving up from that location, you'll find forward-facing emergency warning lights. Just above those, you'll find 2 grab handles. And then you'll find 3 windshield wipers across your one-piece seamless windshield. Moving to the outer edge, you'll find your mirrors. The mirrors house a convex portion in the lower section and a flat portion in the upper portion. Moving up to the brow, you'll find 5 clearance lights. Also located, you'll find forward-facing floodlights, and next to that forward-facing floodlight over the driver's area, you'll find your Opticom. Directly on top, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Moving to the bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Let's move now to the side of the apparatus, where you'll find on the passenger side a side-facing camera. Moving up from that location, you'll find door handles with keyed locks, and then also at all points of entry, you'll find your grab handles for ease and exiting the vehicle. Here are the close-ups of the items that we just talked about. First, starting with your emergency warning siren and PA speaker, your bell and mechanical siren. Moving over to the driver's side, the close-up here indicating the tow hooks and also the air horn. And on the side-facing emergency warning lights. Moving up to the headlight structure, low and high beam headlights, emergency lights above that, and then moving up to the brow is where you'll find 5 clearance lights, forward-facing floodlights, and also your Opticom system. Moving now to the driver's side, you'll find the plug-in location for your cab tilt and also a step light. Also in that same vicinity, you'll find your air inlet outlet and also an air shutoff switch. Department logo. Moving now just to the rear of the driver's area is where you'll find your indicator when plugged into shore power that your shoreline power is on. There is a green indicator light and also a DC amperage. Portland Fire and Rescue logo on the side. Moving to the very top, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. This is mid-cab. And you'll also find unit designator and also a side-facing scene light. Just beneath this, you'll find the location for a pan door, LED lighting, and the storage location for your cab tilt. This is the tether control module for raising and lowering the cab. We'll go ahead and start now with a few images of the front section of the cab, and then also cover some of the areas within the pump panel and body section of your apparatus. Let's first start at the very top section where your LED pole lights are located. This is driver and passenger side. There is also a toggle switch down in the lower section allowing you to turn that light on from the exterior. We'll go ahead and move now to the pump panel area. Just to the left of it, we'll start with your backboard storage and then crosslays. But let's go ahead and start in the upper section here with all of your master gauges. First, starting on the left-hand side, your master gauge for your pump intake. Moving just to the right, you'll find your water level indicator.
And then just below the water level indicator is where you'll find your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. Moving to the right, you'll find your master discharge gauge. Let's move down from this location. We'll cover some of the other items within your pump panel. Let's first start with some of the warning labels here. First at the top, we've got a warning label regarding entanglement hazard because of those lines of the crosslay. And we've also got a pressure hazard warning label. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when removing them. And we also have a fall hazard indicating you should not ride on or climb on the side of your apparatus. Moving up to the very top, you'll find your engine cooler and also recirculating line. These are twist, not pull. As we move just to the right of this location, you'll find your pump boss. If illuminated, it would be a yellow check engine light. Located in the center, you'll find your RPMs. This is a digital readout. Moving to the right, if illuminated, you would find a stop engine light. As we move further down on this module, you'll find the blue button, which indicates menu. This allows you to scroll through the various menu functions of the pump boss. In between the two of those, you'll find a engine diagnostic display. Moving to the right, you'll find a red silence button, allowing you to silence any audible alarms that may be caused by your pump boss. Moving down, you'll find the two options, either pressure or RPM throttle mode for your pump boss, and also a digital readout regarding the menu selection. To the right, you'll find a green indicator indicating that the throttle is ready, and just beneath that, you'll find a preset button in green, allowing you to preset different pressures or throttle. Moving down, you'll find the actual throttle knob, right to increase throttle, left to decrease, push in the center for idle button. Moving just to the right, you'll find your Husky foam system. There are operating instructions located on the module itself. To the right, you'll find your foam level indicator. Moving further to the right, you'll find your primer for the fire pump. There is some information here below that 1,000 RPMs for best practices while pumping. This is the audible alarm around the outer edge of the bezel. It does allow you to dampen the sound. We also have your pump drain located on the left-hand side, and then your tank fill and also tank to pump. You can see that in is open and out is closed. You can see the various discharges. They're currently pulled in the open positions. They're color-coded and also identified via text. Let's go ahead and talk about your minimum operation maintenance schedule. This is the Pierce placard. This is for test pressures for 150, 200, and 250 psi. On the left-hand side is the associated GPM, and on the right-hand side would be the associated RPM. Also, located at the very top, you'll find your job number 33855-04. Located behind the pan door, you'll find your internal relief valve. You can see it's currently set at 250. You'll also find additional warning labels here regarding foam failure. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam. And we'll talk a little bit about your Watrous foam pump. That's Watrous pump. This is a CSU model, transmission C20D. Also within the pan door, you're going to find your foam drain. And then also you'll find this yellow lever. This lever allows for the foam fill operations. The instructions are on the interior of the door. Let's move from this location where you'll find your driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5-inch inlet. As we move down, you'll find all your associated and color-coded drains and also the foam outlet location. As we move also just in that area, you'll find a warning label that only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment and only after they received proper training. Let's move from this location just underneath the running board where you'll find your foam pump intake drain and foam pump discharge drain levers. As we move to the top of the cab, this is a non-walking surface. There is a warning label indicating that. As we move to the dunnage area, we'll find your master stream device and also booster line. On the booster line, you'll find a tensioning nut. And on the very top section of that booster line where the reel is, you'll find the manual rewind location. As we move just downward, you'll find also a caution indicating this is not a step area. That is housing the hydraulic foam system pump. There is the foam system hydraulic reservoir fill location, also in the dunnage area, is where you're going to find a foam operation outlet. This is a foam outlet for your master stream device. Up on top of the dunnage, you'll find the top fill location for foam tank B, and you'll also find your water tank level fill. There is a warning label here: do not mix different brands or consistencies for foam failure. Let's go back out to the outside of the apparatus. We'll now look inside the compartments of the body. First, starting in this compartment, you'll find at the very top, you'll find your recirculating system for air, and you'll also find adjustable shelves and LED lighting. Just in front of the rear wheels, you'll find bottle storage location for SCBAs and also retaining straps. In the rear section, you'll also find a single bottle storage location and also the fill locations for your ultra low sulfur diesel, which is your silver cap. When this lever is moved downward, you'll find it exposes the DEF, which is a blue cap, which is 4.5 US gallons. As we move to the center compartment, you'll find your tool board, which houses a D handle, allowing you to access that tool board. Once it's in the open position, there is a lock on the hinge side. To release that lock, simply reach inside, lift the lever upward, allowing you to restore the tool board to its normal position. At the very top in the upper right-hand corner, there is a wheel which allows you to not allow it to scratch the outer edge of that door. As we move to the rear, you'll find adjustable shelving, once again, and LED lighting. In the upper right corner, you'll find your Shoreline outlet. This is a 20 amp. When plugged into shore power, it will power this cord inside the compartment. Let's move to the rear, where you'll find a side-facing scene light, and at the very top, a 360-degree emergency warning light. This is your hose trough for your suction hose. Let's go ahead and move now to the rear section of the apparatus. We'll cover a few items to the rear. First, let's start just under the tailboard, where you'll find your license plate light and holder. Moving to the outer edge, you'll find your rear clearance lights, and then moving up, you'll find your tail light cluster housing a emergency light, stop, turn signal, and also a backup light. Moving up from this location, difficult to see in here, but we've got a few switches, and I've got an exploded version of that, or close-up. We'll go over that in just a moment. This is the shore power area where you'd plug in for shore power. We'll cover that in just a moment too. Also at the very top, you're going to find rear-facing scene lights. You also have an additional rear-facing scene light at the very top. Moving down, you're going to find a rear discharge. Just to the center section, you'll find your backup camera. As we move to the driver's or to the passenger side, this is where you're going to find your officer side direct fill. Moving also to the right hand side, you'll find an LED tank level indicator. Let's take a look at some of the close-ups. This is the brake, turn, reverse, and emergency warning light. Moving up from this location, here's a close-up of those images we talked about, and I've got a little bit closer image here, first starting with the deck lights and then also the rear scene lights. Moving up, you'll find your shore power. And at the very top, you'll find your warning buzzer for 1 stop, 2 go, 3 back up. You'll also find your 2.5-inch driver's side discharge. Moving toward the center, you'll find your backup camera. Moving to the right in the same area, you're going to find your 2.5-inch officer rear inlet. And then as we move down, we're going to find some warning labels here, one for an entanglement hazard and the other for fall hazard. Let's go ahead and now move to the upper section of the hose bed. In the front hose bed, you'll notice your traffic advisor. You'll also find just above that location on your equipment rack your 14-foot roof, 24-foot extension, a 10-foot attic, and also long tool handle storage. As we move now to the passenger side of the vehicle on the body, we'll cover some of the items within this area. First, starting with your emergency light in the upper section and also a side-facing scene light. As we move now down to the exhaust area, you'll find a warning label indicating extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move just to the rear section of the axle, you'll find 3 locations here that we'll discuss: SCBA bottle storage, also your equipment rack reservoir, and also a fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel, which is a silver cap. As we move from this location, this is your ladder rack equipment hydraulic reservoir, and there is also a relay within this area. bottle storage location here with a retaining strap, and then also your ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. Let's move from this location now to the forward section of the axle, where you'll find 3 locations for SCBA bottle storage with retaining straps. As we move to the center compartment, you'll find a grab tether above at the upper section of the door. As we move forward into the next compartment, you'll find your timing system for your ventilation system within each of those compartments. This will activate when plugged into shore power. As we move now to the midsection of the pumper, where you'll find, first starting in this location with your discharges, there is a 2.5-inch cross lay, and then also an 1.75 inch. There's also a warning label here regarding entanglement. You'll also find your large diameter discharge and also your powered equipment rack module. Moving up to the upper section, you'll find backboard storage and also your cross lays. In the pan door, you'll find your hose reel master switch. Moving from this location down to lower section, you'll find all of your color-coded discharge drains and also labeled, and also the officer side auxiliary inlet. Moving from this location, we'll find once again color-coded discharge drains. These are all twist, not pull. And then you'll also find your foam outlet. Down in the running board, you'll also find a tubbed storage for hose storage. Let's move from this point inside the cab. You'll find affixed to all door panels these set of warning labels. You'll also find a firefighter assist strap for gaining access in and out of the cab. As we move to the very center, you'll find your daily checks for your oil and transmission. This accesses the rear section of the engine. There is a light inside this area for viewing. This is where your engine oil and also transmission dipsticks are located. As we move inside, you'll find 2 fold-down seats that are rear-facing. They do have SCBA bottle storage with inside those locations. You also have provisions for equipment rack mounting on top of the engine tunnel. Let's look overhead in this area, where you'll find push on and off red and white lights. You'll also find switched lights located on the passenger, driver, and in the center area. Moving overhead, you'll find your air conditioning unit. As we move downward from this location to the center, you'll find 2 compartments located here, LED lights inside, and also adjustable shelving. Let's move now to the officer's position. This is the passenger side. Once again, affixed to the door, you'll find all of your warning labels. You'll also find this vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag, and do not mount anything within this area. We'll move through some of the items within reach of the officer. First, at the hinged section, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. You'll also find at the floor level a mechanical siren foot pedal. Moving up from this location, you'll find a siren brake and also an alarm silence button. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find your bell and also 12-volt access via USB style. Overhead, you'll find your siren functions and also PA system, set of switches containing driver alley lights, driver's scene lights, front scene lights, rear scene lights, officer scene lights, and officer alley lights. When any of these switches are activated, the light will illuminate within the designated switch. As we move just across, you'll find these stickers affixed to the panel. You may find these in other locations. They're indicating there is spare wiring behind the panel, identifying the option number. You'll also find your Pierce seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and they are not belted, green indicating that they are in the seat and belted. To the left of that, you'll find a depiction of the fire engine indicating the location of compartment doors. If those lights are illuminating red, it's indicating they are not properly closed. General view of the inside of the cab will start now at the driver's side. Once again, affixed to the door panel, you'll find all of your warning labels. You'll also find additional warning labels in a placard located at the right ankle of the operator. On the floorboard, you'll find a mechanical siren switch. Let's go back to the manufactured by Pierce for Portland Fire Rescue. You'll find the date of manufactured on this placard, the 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, in addition with the VIN number, and all of its fluid capacities for the component and fluid type. On the left knee of the operator, you'll find your master battery switch. You'll also find ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, and then also indicator and regen inhibit switches. Moving up from this location, you'll find your pump shift. There's instructions to go from road to pump, and then also from pump to road. As a remembering, you'll need 2 green indicators when exiting the cab for pump operation. 1 pump engaged and OK to pump. On the right hand side of the column, you'll find your mirror control, flat mirror control, and also convex. Moving to the left hand side of the column, you'll find your ignition switch in the lower section. Moving upward, you'll find a wait to start indicator. And then as we move down, once the indicator is illuminating, you may engage the start button. Moving to the right, you'll find a small switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master, that will illuminate all your emergency lights or also disengage. To the right, you'll find your headlight switch, and then further to the right, you'll find a panel switch. This is a rocker switch allowing you to brighten or dim panel lights within the driver's preview. Starting on the left, you have your transmission oil DEF level and water temperature. On the right-hand side, you'll find your volts, fuel, front air, and rear air. Located in the center, you'll find your speedometer and tachometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. Moving to the right, you'll find this yellow diamond. It is your pull to apply your system parking brake or push to release. To the right, you'll find a digital Allison transmission pad with an indication to pump in drive. Moving up from this location, we'll start on the left-hand side of this set of switches, first starting with an engine brake on and off switch, and then you also have a switch for the settings for that engine brake for low, medium, or high. You do have traction control disable, electric horn or air horn, and also a mirror heat switch. Moving just up from this location, you'll find your defense zone. This is your monitoring system for your cameras. We'll start overhead of the driver position with this placard, indicating your height 9 feet 5 inches, length 31 feet 1.5 inches, a gross vehicle rating 43,500 pounds. If you make any revisions to your vehicle, please update this placard. Moving just to the right of this location, once again over the driver's head, you'll find the emergency master switch, a roof light on and off switch, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Once again, if any of these switches have been activated, the light will illuminate in this individual switch. Moving further to the right, you'll find your load manager indicators, your bell, perimeter lighting, siren brake, and also fog lights. Moving further to the right, we've got an additional set of switches. Those will house your driver alley lights, driver scene lights, front scene lights, rear scene lights, officer scene lights, and officer alley lights. As we move down now onto the dash itself, we'll identify a few items from this area. First, climate control for defrost and heat and air conditioning. Located below that, you'll find a caution indicating to disengage the retarder on wet surfaces, and also an indication for your warning system. On the right-hand side, you'll find your windshield wiper control and press for fluids. General view overhead inside, you'll find a red light at the very top indicating a compartment or door ajar. Also an audible alarm at the lower section, and also a visual indicator. Congratulations, Portland, Oregon, on your new fire apparatus, job number 33855. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.